This is a spiral back review for 7th grade. This is question 1 of 5. Always make sure you read your question well. I also try to, if the standard is there, look at it or something close. So this is algebra. I've got the word equation here. I'm going to have a variable, so I've kind of grabbed a few words already as I work my way through. An office pays a company to collect recyclable paper each week. The recycling company charges a $20 collection fee and 30 cents for each kilogram of paper it collects. Okay, I'm going to circle that word each. I know that when I talk about algebra, each should lead me to slope, or maybe I like to think about the word per. Anyways, I want to start thinking that way as I read. Last week, the office had to pay the recycling company $59.60. Write an equation, so I do know I'm going to need an equal sign. That can be used to determine the number of kilograms of paper the recycling company collected from the office last week. All right, we know it was $59.60 last week. And be sure to define the variable. Well, as you know, the variable can be an x, whatever you want it to be, as long as it's clearly defined. In this case, because it said number of kilograms of paper, I'm going to have n equal number of kilograms of paper. Then I've defined it in their wording. Remember, you could have chose X. That's okay, as long as you define it. I'm going to write an equation. Okay, so I know I need an equal sign. I do know that the equation is going to help me get to the total amount of $59.60. I like to put my total all the way to the right. You can start it that way too. It's fine either way. As we know, it's per each kilogram of paper. Okay, so it looks to me as though I want to say that it's $20 just for them to come to the office. It's just a flat fee. Doesn't matter how much you are collecting. And then it is 30 cents. Okay, I'm going to put point, but let me put that there, right? Point 30 N. You could have also written 0.3 N. That is just fine. You also could have written this in different order. So for example, one answer the state that some teachers have seen is 59.6 equals 20 plus 0.3 N. It's a good answer too. So you have some different choices there. Okay, we're going to go on and read part B. Part B. So this week, the office projects, okay, they're making a projection that they will have 20% more recyclable paper than last week. Okay, I'm going to write a note up here to myself. Last week, they had, okay, so we have to go back to our equation and figure out what N was. Okay, so what is our equation? our equation that we got was 20 plus 0.30n equals 59.6. That's how much money they spent. So let's figure out how much paper they had last week. Okay. We are going to subtract 20. I like to put a decimal point to remind myself that I had that decimal there. And if you had 60, you would just put 2 there. And you'd be left with 0.30 n equals 39.60. Remember, you have a calculator. But notice, even though I put this all on the calculator, I'm still showing my work. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 0.30. And n equals 132. So they had 132 pounds of recyclable paper last week. So now to figure out this week, they're going to have 20% more than that. There are 2 ways to do this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do one way, but I'm also going to mention another way in case you did it a different way. So more than means add. So we know they're going to have 132 because that's how much they had last week. Plus I need to add a little bit more now to get my total. My total is 20% more than that. So I'm going to use my calculator, and in my calculator I know that 20% is 0.2 or 0.20, however you like to work with that number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply 132 times 0.2, and that equals 26.4. I'm going to put that up here, and I'm going to get 26.4. And now I can find my total amount of paper because it was more than, so I want to make sure my number is larger. And my answer would be 158.4 kilograms. I need to put those 2 numbers in the calculator to get 58.4. Some of you may have done this in a different way. If that's the way you did it, feel free to go on to the next slide. If not, I can think about, I had 100% plus 20%. So I'm going to have all the paper I had last week plus 20% more. So I'm actually talking about 120%, which is a great indicator that I'm looking for more paper. Now I take 120%, turn that into a decimal, and I get 1.2. And I would multiply 1.2 by last week's amount in the calculator, and you would get the exact same answer. So as you see, either way works. I'm either adding 100% plus 20%, or the original amount plus a little bit more added on, which would be 20% of that amount. So you have a couple of ways to do that, getting the same answer both ways. Right, now I'm going to have you do one on your own. Remember, there's more than one part. So you have a part A and a part B. Still asking you to please define the variable and the equation. And look at that, show all work. No matter what you put in your calculator, make sure you show your work. one more page. I just want to show you that there's like a part, a little bit more than a part B here. So make sure you also look at the last slide of the PowerPoint. I'm going to go back. You start here and then you move to that last PowerPoint slide. Have a good day.